right now in the United States, people should not be walking around with masks.
You're sure of it? Because people are listening really closely to this.
Right now, people should not be walking. There's no reason to be walking around with a mask. When you're in the middle of an outbreak, wearing a mask might make people feel a little bit better, and it might even block a droplet, but it's not providing the perfect protection that people think that it is. And often, there are unintended consequences. People keep fiddling with the mask, and they keep touching their face.
And can you get some schmutz sort of staying inside there?
Of course. But when you...
That's Dr. Fauci lying.
No, he isn't. He's not lying. He's not lying about everything. Everything that he just said is 100% correct. The masks aren't perfect. They're far from perfect. Not everybody needed to be wearing a mask. Now, notice Dr. Fauci said right now. He didn't say right now once. He said right now twice. He preceded two separate statements that he made in answer to that question with the words right now. And he's absolutely right about that. Right now, meaning back then, at the time that he made these comments, not everybody needed to wear a mask. It would be stupid ridiculous to think that everybody back then, this was like March, April 2020, needed to wear a mask. There were maybe 50,000 people infected in the United States at that time, maybe less. We're talking about in the tens of thousands. We had a hotspot in Washington State and the Life Care nursing home, and there were some hotspots in California cropping up. There was a big outbreak in New York City. So there were hotspots around the country, but it wasn't all over the place. It wasn't everywhere yet. To think that everybody needed to be wearing a mask back then is absurd. And the masks aren't perfect. They're far from perfect. And yes, they might make you feel better that you put a mask over your face, you put a submission signaling face diaper on your face, might make you feel a little bit better about your chances of going out. Even though masks do very little to protect you, you wear a mask to protect others. That's what the mask is for. The mask, you put the mask over your top of your face, so if you cough or if you sneeze or if you're talking or yelling and spitting and spittle comes out of your mouth, it's going to keep other people from getting infected by you. So, and yes, it could stop a spit droplet from going and infecting somebody. But at this time, it was absolutely unnecessary. And it was counterproductive in the ways that Dr. Fauci said. He talked about people are, your mask doesn't fit well. So you're reaching up and you're touching it and you're fingering it and you're adjusting it on your face. It's also cutting off oxygen when you're trying to breathe. You're going to a tight space. Your mask is too tight. You're trying to breathe. You're trying to breathe through your nose. You're not getting enough oxygen through your nose. You open your mouth. And now you're breathing through your mouth with your mask on. As soon as you do that, as soon as you stop breathing through your nose and start breathing through your mouth, you're done. The mask has become counterproductive. You might as well take the mask off, learn how to breathe through your nose, breathe light, breathe slow, and breathe deep. Breathe LSD.
Are you sure about this? Of course. He's lying. He knew that you should wear masks. And he lied on purpose, just like Trump. Why did Dr. Fauci lie on purpose? Here's his excuse of why he was lying about the effectiveness of masks. Here's what he says.
So you shouldn't discount that. Now, getting back to your first question, which was what about a month or so or 2 or 3 ago when people were saying you don't really need to wear a mask? Well, the reason for that is that we were concerned, the public health community, and many people were saying this, were concerned that it was at a time when personal protective equipment, including the N95 masks and the surgical masks, were in very short supply. And we wanted to make sure that the people, namely the healthcare workers, who were brave enough to put themselves in harm's way to take care of people who were infected with the coronavirus and the danger of them getting infected, we did not want them to be without the equipment that they needed. So there was not enthusiasm about going out and everybody buying a mask or getting a mask. We were afraid that that would deter away from the people who really needed it. Now we have masks. We know that you don't need an N95 if you're a ordinary person in the street. We also know that simple cloth coverings that many people have can work as well as a mask in many cases. So right now, unequivocally, the recommendation is when you're out there, particularly if you're in a situation where there's active infection, keep the distance physically and wear a mask. So although there appeared to be some contradiction of you were saying this then and why you're saying this now, actually the circumstances have changed.
So what he's saying is, so people are saying you appeared to you were contradicting yourself. You were saying don't wear masks. Now you're saying they are to wear masks. Why is that? He says because the circumstances has changed. No, so what he's saying is I wasn't telling the truth. Now the circumstances have changed. Now I can tell the truth. He's not saying I was telling the truth before. Now circumstances have changed and it's changed its truth. The truth have always been the same. You're supposed to wear masks during a pandemic. He lied about it.
No, Jimmy, he didn't lie about it. The circumstances do change the truth. The circumstances are the truth. The importance of mask wearing is correlated with the amount of spread of the infection that we have. Dr. Fauci, again, is entirely correct. He's not lying. I don't know where you were. I heard about this. How the hell did I hear about the shortage of personal protective equipment that all these nurses were facing? Why didn't you feel for the nurses, Jimmy? Why didn't you feel for the doctors and the hospital staff and the technicians and the janitors and the administrative workers and all the other people that work in these hospitals? That these are the people that you're going to go to if you get sick. Okay? If you get sick with the COVID-19, you're going to go to these people at the hospital. You better be damn sure that they have personal protective equipment to wear. Okay? If you had a mask, back when Dr. Fauci made these comments, if you had an N95 mask in your possession, your responsibility wasn't to put it on your face because that's the truth, because that's the truth and the truth doesn't change and the circumstances don't change the truth. No. You don't wear that mask. You don't put that mask on your face. You don't dirty that thing up. You go and you take that to your local hospital. Call the governor, call the mayor's office and ask them, where I've got a box of surplus masks here. What healthcare practitioners in my area can I take these to that might want to use them? Do you have a phone number where I can give them a call? That was your responsibility to do, Jimmy. You don't put it on your face. You give it away. You donate the masks that you have to these people who needed them desperately. Now the circumstances have changed, Jimmy. There's masks all over the place. We've got so many masks. We're drowning in masks.
Then, when there was enough masks for the hospital workers, he decided to tell the truth because the circumstances changed. Not that the circumstances changed the truth. The truth was always the truth. You're supposed to wear a mask. He's a liar.
Everybody's making masks. Everybody that has a sewing machine that knows how to sew a mask is making a mask. There are billions, gazillions of masks being imported from China right now. If the United States is even capable of making anything anymore, maybe there are some larger companies, 3M or whoever, that are also making masks in this country. They're everywhere. There is no shortage of personal protective equipment in our hospital system anymore. We've got it covered. Okay, now the recommendations, of course, they're going to change, Jimmy. Of course, we're now going to say that yes, you should wear a mask. It's helpful for you to wear a mask. There is a sufficient amount of masks for you, an ordinary citizen who isn't in an escalated level of threat, that doesn't have an exceptional amount of risk, that your job is to sit in a hospital and all these sick people are coming to you and you've got to put the mask on and help them out. You better have all the protective equipment you can get so you don't get infected, because you've got to stay on the job to help the next people to come in and get sick. Don't you understand this, Jimmy? You have to be able to think through time. It's not, when something's true, it's always true. No! The truth changes through time as the circumstances change. I know this is nuance. I know this is a little bit complicated. It might be a little bit hard to understand for you, Jimmy.
This is the guy heading up our pandemic. This guy and Trump. And you wonder why 200,000 people died? He told people not to wear a mask. And he was lying. The guy should be in prison. And everybody thinks he's the great guy because sometimes he corrects Trump. Do you see how low the bar is for the left in America? Do you see how low the bar is for Democrats and liberals? They are not the left. So Joe Biden, wrong about that. And right about that. Trump, look, isn't that amazing when they can both?
But you've blown this one. You've just completely blown this. I mean, it's obvious that you don't care about the healthcare practitioners in this country. I was scared to death. My heart went out to these people. I'm thinking, my God, these people are scared. They need help. They need help. You should have donated to them. I mean, if you couldn't donate a mask, you should have donated money. These people needed help, and I don't think you remember this. I don't know what you were paying attention to back in March and April of 2020, but I was paying attention. And this is what Dr. Fauci and all the other professionals, this is what we were talking about. This is what we were worried about. It would have been irresponsible for people to wear masks. I mean, unless you have a sewing machine and you can go get some cotton cloth and you can go down and you can start running your sewing machine and you can make your own masks. Oh, okay, fine, wear a mask. But if you can't do that, and you're like you, Jimmy, I guess you go out and you must wear a mask when you go and get gas, when you go and get groceries, when you go and run your errands. I guess I've never seen you go out before. You put your mask on like responsible citizens, and you always got your mask on. I've never seen you in a mask. I've never seen you put a mask on for 5 seconds, and you're sitting here giving Dr. Fauci shit. I don't have anything. I don't really care about Dr. Fauci. I really don't care about him at all. I don't care about any particular doctor. I don't care about any particular nurse. Why is Dr. Fauci getting all this shit from everywhere, from everybody? He has been working at this job for 30 years. He's been under 6 presidents. You think that, has he just been this shameless partisan for all these decades that's just been chomping at the bit, just waiting for some fucking virus to come along where he can't wait to destroy America. He can't wait to destroy civilization in America as we know it. Are you fucking kidding me? He's not the politician. It has nothing to do with partisan politics with him. But you're going to use him as the political football. All this partisan horse shit it's getting thrown around about this virus between Democrats and Republicans. And Dr. Fauci is the monkey in the middle, getting thrown around like the sacrificial lamb. He's getting thrown around like a football. You'll key into that shit and you'll play along. It's absurd, okay? Dr. Fauci did nothing but tell the truth here. You have a deficiency of intellect that you cannot see. You do not care about the people who did not have protective equipment at the time. If there was a shortage of masks now, it's October 7th, 2020. If there was a shortage of masks now, the prudent advice that we should be getting from Dr. Fauci and everywhere else should be, you don't need a mask. Don't wear a mask. Let's get the masks where they're needed the most. And then once we have a big surplus of masks again, then you can put one on your face too. That's the correct advice, Jimmy. It's not a lie. It's good advice. We're going to pontificate about enlightenment. I think enlightenment requires compassion. And I think caring about people who are putting their lives on the line, I think caring about people who are taking all of the risk, they're taking all of the risk to help you. Jimmy, if you got the COVID-19, if you got sick, you would run to a hospital and you would say, help me. And you would be laying on the gurney. You'd be laying there dying. And you're lucky that there are people there to save your life. You don't know how lucky you are. And for you, I want you to look at them, and I want you to look at them in the face when you're laying there dying. And I want you to look at them, and I want you to think. I want you to think about their job. And I want you to think about what it must be like for them to go to work every day. And I want you to put yourself in their shoes. Can you do that, Jimmy? Maybe that's empathy. I don't even know if that's sympathy. I think that's empathy, because you've got to step out of yourself, and you've got to learn to have compassion for somebody else that's not you, that's in a completely different circumstance than you're in. And I think once you acquire some compassion for others whose lives are in terrible danger when there's a massive shortage of N95 masks, or surgical masks, any masks, and gloves, and face shields, and robes, caps. They were short on everything. We didn't have a stockpile of anything in this country. Of course we didn't. Of course we didn't. When you learn how to have compassion for other people who are in a different set of circumstances than you're in, instead of thinking that, oh, well, the truth is the truth and the truth is the same for everybody. When you learn nuance and you learn how to have compassion for others, then you'll be back on the path to enlightenment that you think you are.